Hey YouTube, Ultra Maximus here, and I wanted to start a new video series called Retro Reviews. And I wanted to take a look at films from the 1990s back. Probably going to hit more of the 80s because that was when I was growing up, my big time as a kid, going to the movie theater, seeing these films. We didn't have HBO. My friends had HBO, my grandmother had HBO, but at the house we didn't. We had the Disney Channel, so we saw some movies there, but it was going to the theater and seeing a lot of these movies in the 80s that really got me into film and got me into motion picture production when I went to college, my original major. And I thought I would go through and just kind of look back at some of these films, and some of them are cult classics. Some of them are just films I like, nerdy, geeky, fun type stuff. Some of them I have seen in college in classes, those kinds of things, and just kind of look back at some of these older films that we might have forgotten about. And I want to kind of go more obscure type stuff. And I figured since it's about Christmas time, I'm going to kick it off with some Christmas movies. And this particular initial retro review is going to go to probably one of my favorite, all-around favorite Christmas movies, and it is Santa Claus the movie. And yeah, do you guys remember this? 1985. This film, when it came out, was probably one of the biggest hyped films of the day. I remember it seems like they talked about this movie forever when this came out. And of course, that was the year Back to the Future had come out. And I think the Gremlins had come out that year or the year before. And this came out at Christmas time, obviously. I think November, probably around Thanksgiving when it debuted. And I just remember all this hype and all this talk about this film and just leading up to this. And they had a big making of special, which is actually on this disc, which is very, very cool. So yeah, man, this is a big childhood event for me as a kid. It was a big stink. My family, like everybody in my family, went to go see this film, which was kind of cool. It was fun. But yeah, I remember all the hype. Do you guys remember that? Um, I like this is the 25th anniversary release. I got this, I think, earlier in the summer. I just happened to come across it, and it was like, whoa, that's kind of different. So I went ahead and picked it up. And this is the original movie poster, which is very cool. I remember that at the theater. And it was always kind of funny that Dudley Moore was at the top of the bill because he was so huge at the time over, um, Santa Claus. It just kind of interesting. David Huddleston, he plays Santa Claus in this, and it just Dudley Moore's build over him. Of course, Moore is in the film quite a bit. So, talk about this movie. This movie has an interesting origin, the people who put this together. It was actually written and produced by the same production team that did Superman, the movie. The Newmans, David and Leslie Newman, wrote the story for the film, and then David did the screenplay. They worked on Superman, the movie, and Superman 2. Of course, it was produced by Alex and Ilya Salkind, who were the producers for the entire Superman franchise in the 80s. And it's very evident when you watch the movie because it's got the same look and feel. They use the same cinematographer. Of course, they're also very, at this point in time, it's been 5 years or so, they're very used to the special effects and getting things to look like they're flying. They did a good job with it. And of course, even Santa Claus the movie, Superman the movie. It just a lot of that, and of course, as a kid, I didn't realize it was done by the same people. I don't think at the time, and I just thought, oh wow, this is going to be really, really cool. And it's got a great cast to it. David Huddleston is Santa Claus. who is probably one of the best character actors out there. I mean, he's in my top 10 list easily of great character actors, and he's just one of those guys. He never takes the lead roles. He's always a secondary character, and this is the closest thing to, I think, a lead role that he's had, especially in the second part of his career. He's been around for a long time. The guy made his calling in the 60s and 70s with westerns and kind of cop films, action films, those kind of things. He was always a cop or a cowboy or something to that kind of nature, a judge. And he's just a big, burly, deep-voiced guy. And I absolutely love him. And he's, a lot of people don't remember, he's in Blazing Saddles. He's Olson Johnson. The whole town was named Johnson. Johnson and Johnson, Howard and Johnson, Olson Johnson. He was Olson Johnson in Blazing Saddles. He is also the grandfather in the Wonder Years. He also plays, oh, let's see, what are some of the other awesome things this guy's been in? The Big Lebowski. He is the Big Lebowski. You know, he's probably the latest thing I've seen him in is a few years back now. He was in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the Christmas special, which is hysterical. They kind of do a Scrooge type of theme to the episode with Danny DeVito's character, Frank, and David plays his old partner that he screwed over and stole all the money from. And totally different character than Santa Claus. And he just shows what a great actor he is in that episode. So, yeah, he's pretty darn awesome. You've also got Dudley Moore in the film, who plays Patch the elf. He's kind of the head elf. He is trying to basically suck up Santa Claus. He's trying to modernize the North Pole. His stuff doesn't work quite right. He ends up trying to prove himself to Santa, and he goes to New York City and ends up running into John Lithgow's character, who's a toy tycoon, and actually that's what it says on the back of the package, a dastardly toy tycoon. And he uses, it's essentially the sparkly magic dust, pixie dust, that makes the reindeer fly. They put it in the reindeer's hay, and that's what makes the reindeer fly. Well, Patch takes this stuff and he puts it into a candy cane, I think, or a lollipop or something. And kids start flying and this whole thing, and Christmas starts to get lost, and, you know, there's the whole believe, back to your traditional type stuff. It's a pretty fun film. It's large, it's big. It's an epic sized movie, that is for sure. It's 109 minutes long, so just under 2 hours. It is it's interesting because it starts out with the origins of Santa Claus, which I remember that when I watched it in college in class, that was the main reason that we watched it. It was kind of going over the origins of Santa Claus and some of these, you know, myths, and they kind of combine things in, and how he becomes Santa, and it evolves into this modern tale of manufacturing and consumerism and those original values being lost, which is even more, I think, today an issue than it was in 1985. And it's kind of nice to go back and look at that again and think about that. And that was really a main argument for the film in my motion picture classes, my film classes. It's valid. It's very true. You've also got, just kind of thinking about this, at the beginning of the movie, you've got Burgess Meredith, the late great Burgess Meredith. He plays the ancient elf. He kind of bestows the magic upon Santa at the beginning of the film, so that's kind of cool. So outstanding cast. I really dig it. Now, the making of, like I said, this particular DVD, it's not expensive. I think it was like $7.50. If you've never seen this movie, watch it. It's a fun film. It's I mean, it's dated. I mean, it's a 1985 film, but it's very larger than life. If you've got kids, this is something every kid, I think, should watch, especially, around the holidays. This is just a great little film for the holidays. And like I said, they got this making of on there, and I remember it being, it's so big of a deal with the animatronic reindeer. They made this huge, huge stink about how lifelike these reindeer were. And there's certain shots they use actual reindeer, but all the close-ups of each individual reindeer, they had designed specific animatronic uh, puppets, and they all had their own personalities and looks, and it was kind of interesting. And I just remember that being like the biggest thing, and they talked about that, and they put so much emphasis on it in the making of it, and on the film and everything. And I just really don't think that there has been an equal as far as a big screen interpretation of Santa Claus since this movie. And there's a nice reference in this where they're first trying to discover his look of Santa, and they put him in a green cloak and coat and everything, and which are the traditional Germanic colors for Saint Nicholas. And it's kind of funny because Mrs. Claus is like, green's never really been his color, and Coca-Cola making Santa Claus famous with the red and the white in their ads, their classic ads. And so there's a nice little nod in there. I mean, lots of little nods to origins of St. Nicholas and Santa Claus and Kris Kringle and all that kind of stuff. So it's very appreciative of it for what they've done. I mean, it's obviously a big Hollywood popcorn film, but especially, in the time period, they put a lot of effort and a lot of value into the film. And really, sadly to say, the closest thing that comes to this movie is The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. And that was a flat-out comedy, where this is not. This is a holiday adventure family film, which is kind of nice and fun, because a lot of people forget that, in Christmas it's, family and, giving and the coming together of humanity is the purpose of Christmas, and celebrating that. And one of the things is thrills and adventures, and scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of the Christmases long, long ago. And that really kind of gets captured in this film. There are, thrills and, adventure and glory in this movie. And, that's missing, I think, out of a lot of Christmas films today. And we have not had a really good film like this for Santa Claus, for Christmas, in a long time. And we've had some pretty good Christmas movies here, in the past, with Bad Santa and, Harold and Kumar's 3D Christmas. I do enjoy those, but this particular film has nostalgia. It is well done. It is definitely a gem from the 80s that I think a lot of people have forgotten. So if you haven't seen it, definitely pick it up. If your kids have never seen it, that's a crying shame. Go get it. Go to Kmart, go to Walmart, go to Target. Find this movie. Get it for your kids. Put it in their stocking for a stocking stuffer. It's cheap. It's $5 to $7. And it's fun to sit down on a nice Christmassy evening, Christmas Eve. I think this is probably my favorite. When it first came out on video back in the 80s, and we had gotten a copy, was to watch this on Christmas Eve over at my aunt and uncle's house. So lots of great memories for me, and I know that this could definitely be a great staple in your house for memories for your kids and generations to come. So definitely check this film out. I liked it. It was fun. Thanks for watching. This is my first retro video review. Look for more of those in the future. Everybody have a great weekend and be safe. have a great holiday. Happy Hanukkah to those who just finished celebrating Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. Is out there, all that kind of good stuff. Merry Christmas, and I hope everyone has a safe, happy, and loving holiday with their family. And we'll catch you guys later.